They experimented on twins. I mean, some of the stories, by the way, sound completely absurd. I mean, like the idea that they just like cut a human up and then sewed them back together. Why would you do that? Literally, even if you're the most evil person in the world, that's a tremendous waste of time and supplies. Just slice a person in half and sew them together. That just sounds like bizarre propaganda.
Mengele, also known as the Angel of Death. He was a notorious Nazi doctor who conducted inhumane medical experiments on prisoners during the Holocaust.
All right, tonight in devastating detail, twin brothers described to our Dana Arshan the experiments performed on them by Mengele's team. And as Dana tells us, the brothers want to make sure the world never forgets.
He didn't save me. He just kept me alive for himself.
Emotions still raw, images of horror still vivid. More than 75 years after Peter Shomaji survived the Holocaust, the 88-year-old who's now living here in Westchester, New York, was only 11 when he arrived at the Auschwitz concentration camp in July of 1944. The ink is still visible from his prisoner number A17454 that was tattooed on his arm at arrival. That's also when he came face to face with notorious Nazi doctor Josef Mengele.
Mengele came around and asked for twins. My mother first didn't know what to say. Second time, no. Third time, she said yes. Immediately, two adjutants grabbed us. I never even had a chance to say goodbye.
Peter, his twin brother Thomas, their 13-year-old sister Alice, and mother Elizabeth had all unknowingly been in line for the gas chambers when the twins were plucked aside. They never saw Alice or Elizabeth again.
The moment we got into the barrack, the man who was in charge, we asked him, when can I see my mother? The first question, he says, just look outside the flames. And then we understand that we'll never see my mother again.
Josef Mengele was young, charming, and outwardly pleasant, a facade that masked unspeakable evil. He was known as the Angel of Death, often personally administering the hydrogen cyanide gas to his victims. More than 1 million innocent men, women, and children were murdered in Auschwitz alone. Mengele also conducted medical experiments on prisoners and had a fascination with twins.
60 Minutes Rewind. 50 years ago, at a railroad siding at a killing field called Auschwitz, a German SS officer named Josef Mengele, Dr. Josef Mengele, stood on the platform and with a flick of his finger sent tens of thousands to the gas chambers. Among those arriving on the trains that came in day and night were children. And among those children were twins who were spared the gas chambers only to become fodder for Mengele's medical laboratory. Some he castrated or sterilized. Others had limbs amputated or dye injected into their eyes to see if they would turn blue, all in an effort to produce in a laboratory a master race. One twin used for experiments, the other held as the control.
One day I became extremely ill after a visit to the lab, and I was taken to a barrack that was filled with practically living dead.
So there you are, a living dead person, knowing it.
Well, Mengele came in every morning and every evening, twice a day, with 4 other doctors. And he declared, very sarcastically laughing, "Too bad, she's so young. She has only 2 weeks to live."
Right in front of you.
Right in front of me.
To Mengele, the twins were just tattooed lab specimens. Eva Moses and her twin sister Miriam, no names, just numbers, 7063 and 7064.
He wanted to play God.
Just the mention of his name can send a chill up the spine. In a place full of horror, he was most feared monster of them all. We're of course talking about the Angel of Death, Josef Mengele. Although trained as a doctor to preserve life, he brought a sadistic cruelty to the experiments that ended the lives of so many. And his victims of choice, well, they were children.
כל מה שקורה לנו, מה שלא מספרים לאף אחד, אפילו לא לבעלים ולא לילדים, אנחנו בינינו תמיד. זה לא יחיד, זה שנינו ביחד. אני זוכרת שהוציאו אותנו מהקרונות, מלא אססים עם כלבים, המון אנשים, בלגן גדול, וצעקות שמישהו צועק שם צווילינגן, שזה בגרמנית תאומים. אז אמא שלי שאלה מה זה טוב להגיד צווילינגן, אז הוא אומר מה יכול להיות, תגידי. ואחר כך לקחו אותנו לבלוק הזה של תאומים, שהיו שם הרבה תאומים, בכלל לא ידענו שיש כל כך הרבה תאומים. אנחנו שמה ואנחנו מוכנות תמיד, מתי שקוראים לנו, ללכת לניסויים. זה התפקיד של התאומים.
They experimented on twins. I mean, some of the stories, by the way, sound completely absurd. I mean, like the idea that they just like cut a human up and then sewed them back together. Why would you do that?
of all the evils that have been done on this world throughout the human history, that Candace Owens don't believe that psychopaths exist who would just want to torture human beings out of the sake of torturing them, right? It's like when the pro-Palestinians deny the crimes of the terrorists when they literally filmed it and documented themselves. If you are a Candace Owens fan, please let me know in the comment section below so we can all just laugh at you.